and they've been multi-generational members of the Order of the Skull and Bones, which is a very powerful Illuminati fraternity, which is located there at Yale. One of their buildings, the tomb, is there at Yale. It's a senior society, a fraternal organization, secret society. Of course, they, due to pressure, started letting women into it, as you know.
Recently, yeah. But what about what bloodline does he connect to? What does he connect to? But the Bush family, they're not one of the Bush family itself, Bush, or is it connected to?
You mean genealogically?
Yes, exactly. That's what I meant. Are they exactly.
Genealogically,
right.
They connect back to some of the English and French kings, and they're also if you look at my chart in the Bloodlines book that we've been talking about, you'll see how they genealogically connect back in. They go back to
Godfrey the Bullion, right?
Family. So, there was a guy named William Cheney, and interestingly, Dick Cheney was more powerful than our late President Bush, who was just a mind-controlled puppet. He was a program multiple. Cheney had far more power. Was our late President Bush was just more, in my opinion, more of a figurehead that carried out instruction. He was, I even had a book of all of the stupid things that he had said publicly. At one point he was talking, and he didn't even know, as president, the difference between the three branches of government, executive, legislative, and judicial. And you'd ask yourself, how could someone be president and not even know something like that? Well, you have to understand that the man was multiple, parts of them really didn't know a whole lot about anything, and other parts of them were special purpose. So depending on which part you had speaking to the news media, you got all kinds of different answers. But Dick Cheney, who related to this Cheney family, which was the forefather of a number of presidents, they were descendants of King Edward the First. Do you remember the movie Braveheart?
Yes.
And do you remember the evil king that was going against the Scottish? I mean, depending on your perspective of history, Edward I Longshanks wasn't evil to everybody, but he was from the House of Plantagenet, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I don't speak French, but that house ties back into the Priory of Zion and the Merovingians that we were talking about. Remember? Right. And the Bushes are descendants from Edward I Longshank.
Oh, okay.
Of course, nobody's descended as far as American presidents from Braveheart. William Wallace, he gave his life as a martyr for freedom. And
I've noticed, Fritz, that since John F. Kennedy, I think every president except for Ford has Irish descent to them. I thought, that's a little curious to me.
Yeah, there's some strains of Irish in there.
Well, I know there's the British and the Irish, even with Masonry, right? You got the one's the 13 and the degrees, the other one's 33rd, 32 or 33. What's the difference between the Irish and the British with the Masonry and things like that?
well, I don't know that it's you have a York rite, you have a Scottish rite, you have different rites in Freemasonry. You have organizations that have been typically Irish. You have organizations that have catered to the English. I'm not sure how to answer your question.
Okay. No,
I
I was
guess
just.
the best way of saying is different organizations cater to different groups. Prince Hall Lodge caters to black Freemasons. The Irish, being Celtic, they tie in with certain families within the Illuminati. The English have always played a major role within the Illuminati, and the British Empire was a creation of the Illuminati. They used England as a vehicle for uniting the world, and the Venetian bankers set up situations so that the English and later the British, they're not synonymous. England was just one part of the United Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
But the United Kingdom became great because of the backing of the bankers, and part of the British Empire was not quite what people think. For many years, the British East India Company ran India. It wasn't the British government, it was this company run by these big kingpins. And, of course, the company wasn't important. It was the money that the kingpins could siphon away from the company. So eventually the company went more or less broke because the people that were running it were parasites that were just using the company for their own ends.
Sort of like what the bankers are doing to the American people. Parasites sucking us until we're dry.
The companies themselves are not what's important. They're just fronts. They're just tools that are manipulated by these kingpins.
Right.
They'll collapse their own banks.
Yeah, that's the thing. They'll cut their own.
S&L.
What about
the S&L scandal that the Bushes were involved with?
Right.
And these people will collapse their own organizations, just like they allowed the British East India Company to collapse, because it was just a vehicle for them to find a way to make money.
Absolutely. You know, it's great. You just made a great point that it just like struck a bell in my head, was about like with BP. Look at you got the Rockefellers and the Queen of England basically owning BP. Amoco merged with BP in 1988, and they cut off their own foot for their environmental fraud, for their fraud of like, oh, we're going to, let's look, this is terrible, let's control, look at all this. And they'll spend billions and billions of dollars. Meanwhile, they say the Gulf, everyone go back to the Gulf. And would you go to the Gulf and eat some shrimp from there, Fritz? What do you think? With all that core exit B? It's terrible. And they did exactly that. They cut off one of their, they caused a tremendous amount of trouble for their own company. And fund the opposition to their evil, which is, this is like textbook.
Yeah, they'll take down their own companies. None of these companies are sacred. You're going to watch a number of companies that are what's the word I want to use? They're name brand to the American people. Some of these are going to disappear in the next few years. It really doesn't matter. These were just fronts that were created to make money for powerful people. They can create something else later on. It's not like these are sacred.
Right, like so, like BP can go down, and so they could press this. Oh, look, we put BP's out of business. They're evil. Blah blah blah. Look at that. We're going to clean up the environment. We're going to move to green energy, and they'll keep doing it. And wow, they're crushing the oil company. Hey, do you know the oil companies are investing in green energy? Wow, that's great. We're moving off fossil fuels, and it's just like it makes me nauseous because that's what they're doing. It's the Hegelian dialectic. They're creating their own problem, and then they're offering the solution.
Right, exactly. Controlled conflict.
And dividing and conquer the people.
Standard. Right. Divide and conquer and controlled conflict. And those are standard tools they use.
It's amazing. You got. I mean, well, you had so many. You should see all the questions Vinny has. I'm sure Vinny has another question.
Well, no. I'm just wondering if people want to call in still. 860.
Yeah, we haven't had a caller. 860-866-4344.
I find that hard.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Ray, you've just been listening. What are you trying to have any questions?
You've obviously fill in all the air gaps because there's so much to ask Fritz anyway.
So much.
Yeah, I mean, I'm relatively new to the waking up in the New World Order, as in, 18 months is sort of when I really started waking up to it. But I've recently come across Fritz, and it was via the Alex Jones fundraiser that I saw Fritz being interviewed. So I actually downloaded his book from the internet. I've not bought it yet, Fritz, but I will be investing in your material. But I'm just fascinated by the people that have known about this, this whole New World Order Illuminati agenda for so many years, and have just been shunned by the public. And now we're in this mass awakening.
Yes. It's becoming more mainstream. I kind of joke to myself that when I was hauled off to prison, a lot of this material was taken by others, and great things were done with it. And so I kind of joked to myself, well, maybe I should go away again so that more great things can be done with this material. It's in a lot wider circulation. A lot more people are awake. You have some mainstream shows that are beginning to cater to this kind of information, and so it's being leaked out in a controlled way in the mainstream. Things have changed quite a bit since 20 years ago.
I was fascinated about the thing about the castle where the tortures were going on. That was a recent discovery.
You broke up. Say again.
The castle with the Illuminati, where they were actually doing the human sacrifices. I was fascinated by that.
Oh, the castle. Yeah. There near Monroe, Belgium. Yeah, that's important. Important castle, Chateau des Monroe. It's a Mother of Darkness castle. John Nicholas came out with a book about the Dutro affair scandal. And that book, I don't know if it came out in English. It came out in French. I first found out about the castle when I started working with people that had been in rituals in the castle back in 1991. And they were able to describe it to me, but they didn't know exactly. They knew the general location, but they didn't know exactly where it was. And having been in Europe, I knew that Europe was not a very large place. The county I live in is about the same size square miles as Belgium.